Nice to meet you all. This is for Joanne's the only person I've actually know, but I've been on your mailing list for quite some time. I usually have a conflict during this time frame. Um, Tribe, I think the concept of tribe really was originally meant more around community, but tribe in the sense of when you're trying to defend yourself against a foe. And so, especially here in the United States, and I do work with individuals in other countries. I'm a community, so I've done work for our federal government, and I did work for this administration the first time around. So I have a lot of thoughts on that. But um, my company, Purpose-Filled Solutions and Evolutions, when we write the word community, we actually capitalize the unity and and write it that way very deliberately. And when we talk about human beings, borrowed from a friend in a group that Joanne and I both are in, whenever we write human being, we capitalize the BE. Because ultimately everything that I've done in my more than 3 decades career has focused on starting with what we first have in common and working from there and building around that. And um, two of the greatest successes that I love to talk about is in the capital of the state of New Jersey in the USA. Back in 2000, we actually got an award because we were able to bring 44 entities with very, very different opinions about how to help improve that community. Um, and we joked, we said if we could get the Trenton area Black clergy and the Trenton area gay and lesbian task force to come to the same table and find common ground, we had a pathway for solving a lot of issues. Um, and I got to be part of something like that in a city in the United States called Camden, New Jersey, which at one point was labeled one of the most dangerous cities in America. And just this week, after a decade of very intense work with multiple entities coming together, I mean, like what we call reentry citizens having to work with people who were part of the Department of Justice, and gangs, and we don't have in Camden anymore. We don't have law enforcement. We have public safety, changing the language, changing the way we partner. And for the first time in 50 years, there wasn't a single homicide in the entire city of Camden during the summer season. That is unprecedented. I live in a community 14 miles away that can't even say that. And that is because when you recognize the power of bringing everyone together and helping others isn't a deficit to you, it can actually be a surplus. Um, I think those things are what's lost here. Everybody's so much about being on their own or finding people that will stand with them to fight or be in my tribe. You're part of my tribe. And when we reframe it as come unity, just that asset-based word shifts our thinking in terms of how we interact with each other. And it helps people to take off their armor and stand in non-judgment and have conversations that are really difficult but necessary to continue to find more common ground.